Okay, so let's just see what we would get with my estimates, just to compare with yours, and also see how you would really want to write this out so you can make sense of it. Okay? Because just like me, everything's scattered all over the paper, but at the end, we'll write it out coherently. Okay? So my estimates are well, there's 2, there's 3, I'll say 2.6. So I'm just going to write it down from the beginning, from the expression. I'll start with f of x plus delta x minus f of x over delta x. And then since I know my x and delta x, I know that x plus delta x is 15, x is 10, right? So I got f of 15 minus f of 10. And dividing by delta x, that's 5. And then I just use my estimates. I get 2.6 minus 4.7 over 5. And that equals negative 2.1 over 5. And that's negative 0.42. So that's my estimate of this expression. Okay? So right there is a summary of my answer to the question, what is this for these values of x and delta x? And you see the process. I estimate, I draw my triangle just to reinforce what I'm doing so I can see it geometrically as well as numerically. Okay? And then this is all up here, so now I can say, okay, negative 0.42 here. Here are my estimates. Everything follows from my estimates, right? Now, go just a couple more minutes and I'll give you a quick break. Or, yeah, we'll see. Okay. If y is in centimeters and t in minutes, then what's the meaning of this difference quotient for x equals 10 and x equals 15? Well, if y is in centimeters, of course that's a depth, because I already told you this is depth and this is time, right? So x equals 10 means what? And actually it's supposed to be t. I'm going to use x for time, although usually we would use t for time.
Would it be 1?
Huh?
Would it be 1?
What would be 1? And I got T here, but I'll call it X because that's what I've been using. Y is in centimeters and X is in minutes. So if X is 10,
10 minutes.
it means 10 minutes, right? And if this is a depth versus clock time, which we can kind of assume, because that's one way of representing it, we've seen this, we've worked with it, we've done the simultaneous equations to get the quadratic model for it, right? Okay? So we can say, okay, this is something that's decreasing in depth, and when X is 10 minutes, in other words, when our timer says 10 minutes, okay? Well, that's what this means, right? It means time is 10 minutes, time on some clock, okay? Now what's delta X mean? Delta X is 5, right? And delta X is 5, not 15. Okay, what does it mean for delta X to be 5?
Just add 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, both of you at the same time. One.
They said both add 5 minutes.
The what?
They both said add 5 minutes.
Both? Do what at 5 minutes?
Add.
Well, there's only one thing that adds 5 minutes. You're adding 5 minutes to the 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So adding 5 minutes is right, but I'm not sure where the both came from. But
No.
He meant that both of us said that.
Both
they
of,
both said.
both of them.
Oh, both of them said 5 minutes. I said.
They add to be
I thought
five.
you said said, and I thought you said add, and something about both add
Well,
5
I did.
minutes.
I did say add. I said both of them said add 5
You
minutes.
didn't say all those words, but in my ears, it's my fault. Okay, there's no fault. I just didn't understand what you said. It's really their fault because they both talked at the same time, right?
Yeah, I'm more.
Yeah,
than
yeah.
fries.
I don't know what kind of people we have here. Okay. Yeah, it means you add 5 minutes to the 10 minutes, which means you end up where?
15 minutes.
5 minutes later. Right? And of course, that's 15 minutes. Okay? So the delta X signifies that you're going to look at this thing 5 minutes later. Okay? You're going to look at the depth after 5 minutes has passed. So delta X is how many minutes are going to pass, right? That make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Okay. So what is f of 10? Well, if f of 10 is 4.7, just use my estimate because everybody else got different estimates, right? You drew your own curves and that was fine. Okay? If f of 10 is 4.7, what does that tell me about what's going on?
So it's at 4.7 centimeters.
Yeah, depth is 4.7 centimeters when the time is 10 minutes, right? And then, what is f of 15? f of 15 is 2.6. What's that mean? Somebody else.
That's only centimeters.
Okay, so let's be specific. The depth is 2.6 centimeters. When?
15 minutes.
When time is 15 minutes, or, if you want, it's 2.6 centimeters 5 minutes after it was 4.7 centimeters, right? Okay, all those are real important. You have to see all of that, and it's not hard to see, because once you've done a few of these with different interpretations, you keep asking the same question so you know what's going to happen, okay? But right now, it's new, and, you know, everybody had trouble interpreting these f of x and f of x plus delta x symbols in terms of an unknown graph. So, you know, we had to spend some time on that, and there's still a little overlapping confusion from that, right? So it's a little hard to sort all this out, but we need to get this much. Okay, so at this point, we know So the depth is 4.7 centimeters when the clock reads 10 minutes. Right? And how do I say that? In terms of the symbols over here? This is how we say f of 10 equals 4.7. Okay? Now everybody write down how we would say, how we would express the fact that f of 15 equals 2.6. Write that down in words on your paper.
F of 7. You said F of 7?
I said, this is interpreted like this is interpreted how? Write out a statement that interprets f of 15 equals 2.6.
So we ought